Hi, everybody. This is Bob Iacino from Path Trading Partners, along with my co-founder, Mike Arnold. It is September 13th, and this is a Path Chat cryptocurrency educational update covering Bitcoin, which has come under the fire of the big boys, hasn't it? Let's start with the most outrageous comment and go down to what one might consider to be reasonable analysis. And you start with Gandalf. So for those of you that don't know, if you're starting to trade, you're eventually going to become familiar with some of these, what's the word, sort of pseudo-celebrities in the traditional market world, and Gandalf is one of those. Gandalf is a guy named Marko Kolanovic, and he's a JP Morgan quantitative analyst. He's a self-described wizard. He calls himself Gandalf. So a lot of people have kind of picked up on that. But he basically said, another worrying aspect of cryptocurrencies are some parallels to fraudulent pyramid schemes. Initiator of a pyramid scheme often ensures ownership of a disproportionately large share of future profits. For instance, in the case of Bitcoin, it is believed that an unknown person or persons, known as Satoshi Nakamoto, before disappearing, mine the first 1 to 2 million coins, or 10% of the coins that will ever exist. While initial mining requires a negligible effort, the benefits for subsequent participants start diminishing. Mining becomes progressively more difficult and eventually unprofitable, marking the likely end of a scheme. A way around this pyramid scheme is to bypass the original chain and start a new one of your own. The cryptocurrency analogy would be to start a new coin if it is more profitable than mining the existing one. This can work as long as there are enough willing and uninformed buyers. So the outrageous part of this to me is saying that, tying that somehow to Bitcoin and some of the already established well-known ones. The point of these cryptocurrencies is that they eventually will run out. There will be no supply of them, or no further supply of them, rather. Now, to compare that to a pyramid scheme where yet the central banks can print all they want, just to me seems to be a little bit outrageous of a comparison at this stage. Down the road, is there fraud going on with ICOs and some of the sort of Paris Hilton modeled cryptocurrencies? Sure there is. But to call cryptocurrencies as an asset class a pyramid scheme is silly, and it's a little outrageous. Jamie Dimon kind of started this whole thing. Jamie Dimon is, of course, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, and he essentially said he would fire anyone trading in cryptocurrencies, and he called them a fraud. Now, again, he doesn't identify any of the fraudulent qualities of Bitcoin specifically. He was speaking specifically about Bitcoin. Said that his daughter had bought some, and this is a fraud, and if any of his people were trading them, he would fire them out of stupidity. That, to me, seemed to be just kind of a guy who's going to be hurt by digital currencies, talking them down, which you can see on the chart. To a certain degree, it worked. And then there's reasonable analysis by Mohamed El-Arian, who is the chief economic advisor at Allianz, which owns PIMCO. Allianz is the parent company of PIMCO. PIMCO is the largest bond fund. Well, it was the largest bond fund in the world. I believe it's second now. And he's a thoughtful analyst, but he said it is a disruptive technology, but the current pricing assumes massive adoption. And I don't think that governments will allow the price of adoption that is currently priced in. That is thoughtful analysis, as opposed to saying that all cryptocurrencies, and in the case of Jamie Dimon, Bitcoin specifically, are frauds. That's just silly, and it's just, to a certain degree, it's uneducated. These are very smart people, but it seems to me that they're targeting rather than doing analysis. Again, unlike Mohamed El-Arian, who actually just said it's overvalued. That's all. That's all he really said. So he said it's overvalued by half, but you can see Bitcoin has fallen the last few days. So we're actually getting into the mode of trading some short positions around core long positions. And I'll probably touch on that a little bit in our IOTA video. But in the meantime, let me turn it over to Mike to let you know what he's seeing on the charts. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Bob. Bitcoin US dollar. Bar is not closed yet on a daily basis, but it is currently a fair amount below our defining point at 39.74, which is a critical area, especially on a closed blow that we're watching for to shift us into bearish mode. Bearish mode means that if we're taking any long trades, we will not be exceeding the rotation zone either on the daily or the 4-hour chart. And that means we have a fair amount of resistance against us. Right now, resistance comes in at either 4,000 to about 4,200. We're getting the first cross of the rotation zone. It's poked down into the first target area and hit our first Gann box projection one, just missing the second one, so that one's staying into place. But we're essentially in bearish mode and looking for potential bigger declines. Checking in on the weekly, you see here it dipped into the rotation zone, still holding just above this box. This is a very critical level. If we do get a close blow on a weekly basis, we could easily see the drop down to 3,400 and then a longer term drop closer to 3,000 before we find some other key support. Looking at the 4-hour chart, see our levels here, and now that rotation zone coming in, the bottom of the rotation zone here is 39.50 to about 40.80. This top area lining up with the prior support becoming resistance now. So those are key things you're going to watch. If you're taking long trades, don't get too aggressive with the targets. I mean, don't shoot for targets all the way up here because it's got a lot of prior support that's now resistance to get through before it gets up there. And it had a nice big sell-off. Now it's basing sideways. Wouldn't be surprised to see it come back in this rotation zone and then turn lower, in which case we'll be able to project some new levels down. So we are not aggressive buyers. We're going to be very conservative buyers, only at key levels with high probability patterns. And if some good short trades set up, we will trade some short trades around our core position. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you for that, Michael, and thank you guys for watching. Check out our Patreon page if you'd like us to do more of this stuff. We can get much more in depth if our Patreon account starts to grow. So that is linked in our YouTube channel. Also, hit like and subscribe, and please spread the word about us, and we will talk to you guys in the next Path Chat. Cheers, everyone.